Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannon's, where you can be part of the Shannon's Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering. Hello and welcome to another Classic Restos exclusive. But before we go any further, you need to see this really cool stuff from the people that help to make Classic Restos happen each and every week. It's thanks to Shannon's. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannon's Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. This guy, like many, loves his American cars. American car TV shows from yesteryear. American cars, quality USA-built products, and, oh, did I mention American cars? Meet Mark Beer, man on a mission. His objective, to get his latest purchase, a 1978 Mercury Colony Park Woody wagon, from Detroit to his San Francisco shipping agent. A car that's been sitting for years. Just a few things done, then onto the road across 7 states and into the 8th state of California, enduring between 60 and 80 miles per hour for up to 1,000 kilometres per day. It's like asking a senior person in the nursing home to get up out of their comfy chair and run around the block. Can it be done? A Lincoln-inspired style, a 400-cube Cleveland V8 gulping chunks of atmosphere, a classic American shape, wood grain that resembles a small forest. I'm sure that I saw a finch fly out of the tailgate at one stage. A 2,160-kilo car, the weight of an empty 6-metre shipping container. Thousands of these were built and thousands were trashed. You could buy this family transportation weapon in 1978 with a 351, 400 and 460 cube V8, along with a ride that was more comfortable than your lounge room. This one survived the turmoil. Here is just some of Mark's story.
Where did it all begin with me with cars? Well, I think back to when I was a little kid. Obviously, like most kids, I had Matchbox cars and, Corgi cars, those sorts of things. I probably had more than most. I was always a big collector and always had a fascination for cars. And I guess as I got older, I'd watch a lot of the American, particularly the police programs, Streets of San Francisco, Hawaii Five-0, those sorts of shows, and plus movies. And I always was really impressed by the American cars. I always thought they were pretty spectacular, the way they were thrown all over the road, smoke pouring out of the tyres, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty impressive as a kid. And then my father bought a 1972 Ford Galaxy LTD. It was from the Premier's department. It was Sir Robert Askin's car. I was 2 years old when he got it. And that car made a huge impression on me. I just love that car. And in fact, if I heard my dad start the engine in the garage, I'd run to the top of the driveway to make sure I went for a ride with him in the car every chance I got. When I was working for General Motors over in New Zealand in sort of the 90s, mid-90s, my brother told me that my dad had sold the Galaxy, and I was devastated. So I set about trying to find out where it was, and luckily my brother's friend saw it parked somewhere, and I said to him, if you see it again, put a note on the windscreen. So he did that, and to cut a long story short, I ended up buying the car back, so I've still got it to this very day. So that car's really special to me, and I guess since then I've also purchased other cars. I've got European, Australian and American cars. I like pretty well all cars, but I'd have to say the American and the Australian ones are definitely my preference. And I guess I set about, from a work perspective, I guess trying to make sure that I could incorporate my passion into what I do for a living. So, I've worked for Mitsubishi Motors in various roles, and then I went into General Motors in the very late 80s, and I was lucky enough to head up the New Zealand market as their national sales manager, and then I went into product planning with General Motors at Fisherman's Bend. So I guess as I see the Australian car industry sort of, in terms of local production, starting to wind down, it's a pretty sad moment for me, and I guess I was just lucky enough to be part of the industry, and in product planning, responsible for a lot of vehicles, obviously with a team of great people as well, but responsible for some pretty epic vehicles. Then after I moved on from General Motors, I joined Ford, looking after the marketing and the product planning for Ford performance vehicles. And then moved on to Shannon. So I've been with Shannon's now for over 9 years, and it's a fantastic company, great business. We're all enthusiasts. I think we really identify with the customer because we are the customer ourselves. We are passionate enthusiasts. So creating the Shannon's Club has been a great milestone, where people can go and build their virtual garages, share their experiences, their photos, their stories, go on the forums, all that kind of stuff. So it's been a really good opportunity for me, and I can't see myself selling dishwashing liquid or washing powder or something like that. I've always got to do something that reflects my passion, and I think that's really important. So that's really what I've done.
With me now, I have this guy here, Mark Beer, the National Marketing Manager of Shannon's Insurance. We're in the United States of America, and boy, we've got quite a trip ahead of us, Mark.
We certainly do, Fletch. It's pretty exciting here. I mean, you're in amongst the home of the automobile. I mean, even just across from us here, we've got the big three represented by the pickup trucks there, Ford, GM and Chrysler. It's great to be here.
These pickup trucks over here in the US, they're like Commodores back at home, aren't they, with all due respects? In terms of the quantity, they're just everywhere. Funny thing is, though, when one of those trucks are back on our roads in Australia, they stand out so much.
They absolutely do. And I guess what I have noticed since I've come back to the States this year is there's a big resurgence in American-made product. You're seeing a lot more on the road, which is great.
And in terms of things that stand out, now, Mark, you like your classic cars. You've bought another one, a 1978 Mercury wagon. Got a little bit of wood grain down the side. Matter of fact, Mark, I think that when it went through the woods, it took the whole forest with it.
Yeah, it'd certainly give National Lampoons a good run for its money. No doubt about it. But the Mercury Colony Park it's called, and it's pretty cool, I think.
What a classic car, 1978, getting towards the end of the big bangers. It still has a 400 cube V8 up under the hood like a 351 Cleveland on steroids. It drives superbly. I've only done a short distance in this car, but you've only got to go from, around a car park or the length of a football field, and straight away you appreciate the quietness, the comfort. Again, it's one of these things that's designed to go from one side of the country to the other.
Yeah, it's like riding on a cloud, and it'll take your luggage.
I'd like to point out some features of this car too. The dress rooms were the first thing I noticed. That same style stainless steel full-faced dress cover used in Australia on our later Fairlanes and LTDs.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the ZJ and the ZK Fairlane. There you go, bit of trivia there, Fletch.
You've got to get up pretty early in the morning to catch this guy out. Now, we see also design features when you look at the front of the car too. Reminds me very much of a lot of the styling, the Lincoln styling that flowed through to Australia. The LTD Silver Monarch. You can see the tops of the guards and how it comes out, the squareness around the front. You can see where these American styles transform themselves into the Australian design department.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Mercury was the top of the line wagon for the Ford Lincoln Mercury division, and effectively couldn't buy a Lincoln station wagon, so this was the next best thing. And a lot of those styling features did find themselves through on the Australian cars.
I still think it's pretty cool for 1978, although a little smogged up and lower compression, to still be able to buy a 400 cube V8 in 78. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. And also supporting the 1970s CB antenna still on the top of the front fender. How cool is that?
Yeah, I haven't tried to get Smokey and the Bandit on the wire yet, but we'll wait and see.
And we look around the back of the car, nice and big and square and long. It's got its own postcode, luggage rack on top. The interior is great.
Yeah, it's actually a 9-passenger wagon. It's 3 in the front, 3 across the second row, and then 3 in the back. And they even had an optional magnetic checkerboard that the kids could play checkers in the back on a road trip.
Of course. Only here. That's just an amazing thing. A car that's virtually 20 feet long and built for the purpose. It's an absolutely awesome machine. It's got a tilt steering column as well.
Yeah, it's also got cruise control, power windows, air conditioning, central locking. This car's got everything.
Now, apparently there's a line I say in Classic Restos about it doesn't get much better than that. Now, apparently I say that. Well, I believe it doesn't get much better than that today, especially because we are on our trek doing some filming towards San Francisco in convoy. My car happens to be the Dodge Challenger. I have to make a comment on that. Rented from Enterprise over here. Great company to do business with. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, the cars are there in stock. You get in them, you drive. They're in great condition. What a car that is.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got to get a rental car, I think, it's a bit of a vanishing point, isn't it? You've got the Dodge Challenger and then obviously the Mercury Colony Park in Convoy, so it's pretty cool, I think.
We've got a couple of walkie-talkies between both cars and keep the communication up. Mark, enjoy our next leg of the journey. We're off to Iowa today, so all going to plan. We should get there in a few hours from now.
Looking forward to it, Fletch.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range. We're having huge days. We're driving at least 1,000 Ks a day. So where are we now, Mark?
We're in Utah, Fletch. It's certainly been a pretty big trip, but I think when you look at the view, it's well worth it.
I'm glad that you're here to tell me where we are. Here at Salt Lake City, I guess we're getting towards the end of Salt Lake City, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll move out of Utah into Nevada. Will be our next step. It's been a bit of a trip so far.
It's almost like a lost in space backdrop behind us. It's unbelievable. I haven't quite experienced a backdrop like that.
Maybe the Jupiter 2's hiding somewhere there, Fletch.
Could be too. Now, Mark, the big Mercury. Are you pleased with progress so far? Keeping in mind we've already done a couple of thousand Ks. How's it going?
Yeah, she's just rolled over to 60,000 miles. So we've gone from Ohio up to Detroit, across to Illinois, through to Nebraska, then Wyoming, now into Utah. Next stop, Nevada. And the 400 cubic inch V8's performing exceptionally well, but it does like a drink.
You have to feed the beast. Now, this is a lot to be said for a stock standard vehicle from 1978. A few things have been done around the engine for the trip on the outside, but internally, hey, we're still looking at a stock standard engine from 78.
Yeah, I mean, some people call them land yachts and things like that, but I guess once you've driven these cars on these sort of freeways, really there's nothing better, Fletch.
Now, Mark, we're obviously heading west. We're heading towards Reno, and we're going to end up in San Francisco, which is about as west as you can get before you hit the drink. Now, the purpose of San Francisco, why is the car going there?
Well, I can't take it on the plane with me. Probably get excess luggage there. So I'm going to ship it out of San Leandro, which is just outside of San Francisco. It'll go in a container, 40-foot container with 3 other cars, not mine, I might add.
Well, there you go. Another beauty back to Australia. Hey, I mean, it's great to get these cars. I mean, the cars are over here, and 9 times out of 10, they're well cared for, but you'll get the odd one that might just be sitting in a shed, kind of not abandoned, but I mean, it kind of left alone. So, I mean, by rescuing one of these cars, it just gives it a new lease of life, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Fletch. And I guess one of the things that we've both seen on the road trip so far is how many Americans have come up to us with really fond memories of these Woody wagons.
It's amazing the amount of feedback that we're getting from this car. Think about back in the time, they made thousands of them. They were a family truckster. Nobody thought much about them. And by the same token, as a reflection of that production in terms of numbers, a lot was scrapped, went to wrecking yards. There's not many left. So what happens now? Wow, that's the factor.
Absolutely. I mean, sort of an oddity on the road these days, but that's kind of the appeal for me.
Yeah. Now, obviously, when it gets back to Australia, it's going to be, who's it going to be insured with, Mark?
Well, it's got to be Shannon's, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
No other choice.
Absolutely. As a part of these handful of episodes exclusive to Classic Restos, this particular return trip, thanks to Shannon's, the Shannon's Club is loaded with episodes from a few years ago as well. We've caught up with a few people along the way. Run us through a couple of them, Mark.
Well, Fletch, we caught up with Wes. He's a collector, 92 years of age, 92 years young. He's got more energy than most people I know. And also Murray, and he's got that massive Chrysler collection, as you know. So all those episodes are available on the Shannon's Club, as well as all the past episodes of Classic Restos as well. So plenty of viewing pleasure.
That's the beauty of the Shannon's Club. They stay there, well, virtually forever, and you can do the search and find them. As Mark alluded to, Wes, 92 years of age, a collection of 35 cars, and then we have Murray from Ohio with around 1,500 Mopars. I've never met a guy that's got so many cars he's actually forgotten where some of them are kept.
Yeah, I quite don't have that many at this stage.
Don't forget, the Shannon's Club is an amazing online facility, and it's crafted for motoring enthusiasts. When you get a moment, find out more when you check out shannons.com.au. After around 3,500 kilometres, Mark, congratulations, the Mercury has made the trip here to San Francisco.
Yeah, she's finally arrived all in one piece, and I've got to say, for a car that's from 1978, did a fantastic job.
Now, I can back this up, obviously being in convoy with a brand new Challenger, which was a remarkable vehicle to drive too. I was in front of you most of the way, behind you a little part of the way, and believe me, that car, it never missed a beat. And I just think, again, as we said earlier in the segment, what a car.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testimony. I think last time we were in, Salt Lake City, we drove through Nevada, through the desert, Mojave Desert, through the high Sierras into California, and yeah, she didn't miss a beat.
You've had your backside on the front seat many, many hours of this car. So summing it all up, how happy are you really with it?
I'm wrapped. It's fantastic. The car's everything I expected it to be. Did some work in advance before driving it across, hoses and belts, the usual things. And then, as you know, we did a carburetor swap over as well, just to make it run nice and smoothly. But car was fantastic.
Mark, while I've got you, just tell us the advantages as to how good the Shannon's Club really is.
Well, I mean, I'm a little biased, but it's fantastic. There's over 100,000 people every month go to the Shannon's Club. It's over 50,000 members. It's the home of Classic Restos. In fact, it's exclusively the place to watch Classic Restos in the video section. You can build your own virtual garage. There's a business directory. There's forums where you can discuss a whole lot of topics. But basically, it's the go-to place if you're a motoring enthusiast.
One thing I've noticed too, Mark, is a list of car clubs around Australia. And, if your car club isn't there, you can go on and you can find the car club that you're looking for.
Absolutely. You can list your club for free. All makes and models are represented, cars and motorcycles, and also events. We've got thousands upon thousands of events for motoring enthusiasts listed there on the club.
Well, Mark, I want to take this opportunity to thank yourself and Shannon's for the opportunity to come over here and work my guts out for a couple of weeks and do a whole bunch of United States-based shows. They've been exclusive, and what can we say? There's some great content there, and it's been a pleasure doing the trip with you, Mark.
Same to you, Fletch, and I'm looking forward to watching all the episodes.
Absolutely. Now stick around, because after the break, we're going to be speaking to a really cool guy in Detroit with a beautiful 1973 Cadillac. It's bagged out with white wall tyres, and it looks sensational. Stick around.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes. From the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannon's, we understand enthusiasts. So when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannon's. Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Hare & Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare & Forbes has the range.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch Tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Book a Fletch Tour. It's amazing.
Seen some absolutely amazing cars. What an event.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit Tour.
I would make it a point to go to Fletch Tours and come to Detroit.
There are 5 Fletch Tours. Select the one that suits you best. See FletchTours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara. Time for Reggie. How you doing, Reggie?
Hey, how you doing, Fletch?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Yeah?
Yes, how about yourself?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. You know, staying at the hotel here in Detroit, looking out on the car park, just had to get this guy. Reggie, 1973 Cadillac DeVille, beautiful car. What can you tell us about this particular vehicle?
It's a wonderful vehicle. I bought the car about 5 years ago. My father and my mom had one, and I got one. And I'm just in love with it.
It's an original car too, right? It's never been restored.
No, never been restored. Everything's original.
Yeah. Now, the 1973 Cadillac was released September 21st in 1972 here in the United States. Also, Reggie, in 1973, over 300,000 Cadillacs were sold, which was the biggest year for Cadillac sales. And during 73, the 5 millionth Cadillac was sold. So that's certainly an accolade for that year.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Fletch.
When we go back to 72, the year before, that was the 70th anniversary of Cadillac. And as mighty as they are, I mean, 2.5 tons of car here, and these big white wall tyres that you've put on this car, I mean, man, this has got road presence.
Yes. Tires come from Coca Classic. I love them. I've got a lot of comments about them, Fletch.
Now, of course, up front, we've got the legendary 472 cubic inch V8. And to run these things, I mean, the gas, the fuel out back, I mean, we've got a 27-gallon fuel tank here.
About $70 to fill up.
How far does that get you, Reggie?
Maybe about 300 miles.
Isn't that good? You have to fuel the beast. You don't buy these things for gas economy, right?
No. It's strictly for show. Because it burns a lot of gas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Reggie, just quickly with the options of the car. Now, the big panel across the radiator support on the front clip there, or the front of the hood, should I say, all that bright work. Now, was that an option in the day, or was that a standard?
Yeah, it's an option. You could get it, the grill. And back then, you could get it from Cadillac when you bought the car. You could order it on the car already.
It was actually Cadillac, between Cadillac and Lincoln. Cadillac had the most options and the most models. There was so much to choose from. I mean, you could go wild with the options, couldn't you?
Yes, Fletch.
I mean, by 1973, automatic climate air conditioning, power steering, six-way power seat was pretty well old hat. I mean, it had been around for years by that stage, hasn't it?
Yes, Fletch. Yes, it was.
All right, look, I'm going to let you get back to it. Great catching up with dudes like this man here. He's a good fella, and I love the Cadillac, Reggie.
Have a good one, Fletch. Nice meeting you.
You too. Mark and his Mercury, man on a mission. I'm going to be dreaming about this car. It's been in my rearview mirror. Been staring at it for days. And all the bugs, thousands of them, that gave their lives as trophies as it crossed 3/4 of the way across the United States of America. Here at the Shippers in San Francisco, next port of call will be Australia. Another one for Down Under. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering.